All right, so we are jumping right into it because we have under 20 minutes. So if you want to meditate with me, check the description down below and we will freaking meditate together. All right, so yeah, sorry about that. Apparently my SD card was full, so that's why the meditation cut out early. But anyways, we are freaking on track to a joke that I actually heard today, and it's equally as terrible as it is good. Terrible because freaking all dad jokes are terrible, but good in the sense that, you know, it makes sense as a joke. So, what does a house wear? A dress. God. Oh my gosh. All right. That's it for the corny stuff. Well, I don't want to speak too soon. Anyways, today's plan is to freaking destroy some arms, and my arms are feeling rather revamped, and I am pretty freaking excited about today. Yesterday, with back doing those single arm pullovers, just going back and forth, whew, oh my god, my back is freaking, I should say my mid back fairly sore, but my lats are freaking fried, and that is the way that I like it. So that being said, that style of set could work really well for today. I'm thinking, you know, we'll probably do something with, I don't know, like something with cables, something for triceps, something for biceps. Not really too sure yet. We'll figure it out when we get there. But that's the freaking plan for today. I don't really know what we're going to be doing. I just know we're going to try to change it up for forearms, because I've been doing cables for forearms all the time. So I think we're going to do some sort of preacher for forearms, just to kind of see how it all works. It would be freaking sweet. I've seen some gyms with preachers specifically for your forearms. So that would be that'd be pretty cool to try out, because I mean, if the machine is designed to destroy your forearms, then sign me up. That sounds freaking awesome. But anyways, we'll probably try to work it in, you know, with biceps and triceps, that style of set. But for biceps and triceps, I mean, it's usually like some sort of push down for a tricep, and then some type of extending movement, whether that's like a behind the head overhead, or like an overhead dumbbell press, or like a skull crusher, or I don't know, sometimes we even do just like purely pressing movements, like a Tate press, or like a close grip bench. I don't know, like we'll see what's on the plan there, and then how our triceps are feeling in the moment. But for biceps, pretty much the same deal as well. Like basically it's just making sure that we hit all the heads of both biceps and triceps. So that usually means, you know, doing some sort of like hammer curl, like a neutral grip kind of curl, which is just having your palms facing your body. And then the second part would just be hitting the short head of the bicep. So more so having your palms forward, or you know, your pinkies leading. I like to think of it like that, because then you can just really freaking squeeze the short head of those biceps. So anyways, that's the freaking plan. But pretty cool. I've been kind of venturing into the teachings of Rick Rubin, and he's a pretty cool guy. I mean, I kind of, you know, I knew of him because he worked with, you know, really big names in the music industry, like Jay-Z and Eminem, and I think even like Kendrick at one point, like Lana Del Rey, you know, all these huge names. He was, you know, he's been around for a while. So like he even worked with like Aerosmith at one point. Anyways, he has really cool teachings about creativity in general, and how to be as creative as possible. And you know, he he basically, like, I even have a song where it's kind of like a, you know, a segmented part of one of his, you know, like, of him talking, and it's kind of like a really inspirational thing, and then, you know, it drops into like the dubstep or whatever, you know, and he basically described like your creative work is a diary entry, you know, like people can judge it, but that wouldn't really make sense, because it's like, why would you judge somebody's life experience? You know, it's like, it's their experience. It doesn't make sense to judge it, you know, kind of thing. And so I think like a really important piece of that I've really come to understand is the second that you attach any kind of expectation to anything, it kind of ruins like the whole process of making it. Like let's say you're writing a book, right? You're like, all right, cool. I'm gonna be on, this is gonna be a New York Times #1 bestseller. We're gonna make this into like the, you know, one of the best books of all time, like up there with Shakespeare. Like that expectation alone, you're only introducing the fear that, you know, I have to make this work to make it, to, you know, for like a status kind of thing. Like, ooh. As opposed to like just making it because it's fun and because you love to do it. Like that's my thing with bodybuilding in general. Like, I know I'm not, you know, the biggest guy or even close to it, but I freaking love bodybuilding. Like, I just love the sport. Like it is like you're balancing out your physique, and it's like you're building a sculpture. Like that's how I like to think of it. It's like you're just doing it for the love of the art. And that's what Rick Rubin was kind of getting at, where it's like, you know, the second that you put an expectation on something, then you're probably going to be thinking about that expectation more than the process of making it. So that's my kind of thing. And I kind of like, I noticed that during meditation, because, you know, meditation to me is like bodybuilding is pushing our aesthetic limitations. Meditation is pushing our mental limitations. That's how I like to think of it. And so when I noticed that, you know, my meditations aren't like working or whatever, you know, like I don't really feel like I'm in that much of a flow state all the time, then I noticed that, you know, I have some sort of expectation attached to what to the meditation. So like, I think that it should be this way when, you know, it doesn't have to be anyway, you know, like the meditation is just the meditation. And you, like, the second that you're like, yep, if I do this meditation, then I'm gonna be happy and in a flow state all the time. You know, like that kind of expectation, it'll let you down real quick. Like, because it's just in the back of your mind, like, man, like I gotta have that. But you're more focused on the expectation than you are just having fun with the process. And so that's where, you know, I mean, it makes sense evolutionarily. Like our expectations are to make sure that we survive, and not only survive, but thrive and be happy. And so now my thing is, I'm gonna do the best that I can and have fun in the process. And whatever happens, happens. Because that's all we can do. But anyways, that has just been on my mind today. But enough talking. Let's get to this freaky ass arm day. All right, nothing too crazy here. Push downs, hammer curl, And then we're kind of switching it up with forearms. So we're doing preacher curls, or preacher forearms, I guess. I guess they are still curls, but anyways. So we're kind of switching it up. You'll see pretty soon, but this is pretty much the same. It's nothing like good old basics. I got a little more. Yeah, that's good. All right, so this is what I was talking about with the preacher forearm curls, and it's honestly my first time trying them, but based on how they're going, probably will not be my last. Oh. All right, let's do some lower forearm now. Oh my God. Yeah, that's good. Ooh. Yeah, when I'm doing these, it's like I'm trying to drive my palm up to the ceiling. And, you know, I kind of get to a point where it's almost like the peak of the contraction. And then once you get to that point, it's almost like I'm pulling my palm a little closer to the ceiling just to get that little extra bit of squeeze. So anyways, we have hammer curls next, and then, I don't know, something else. I think preacher curls are up today too. Yeah, that's good. Ooh. Let's go do something else. Alright, nothing crazy here. Just some Superman preachers. Alright, I've been doing kind of like my variation of like a combination between tape crushers, or tape presses and skull crushers, and I call them tape crushers. But at the same time, I could be missing out on a little bit of tricep gains from not going heavy enough. So on this next set, we're gonna be going pretty freaking heavy on tape press. I'm thinking 55s, and then if I can get 55s for 5, that's a freaking win. That sounds awesome, because I think the heaviest that I've gone pretty recently is 50. So we'll have to see about the 55s, but either way, we're gonna kind of treat this like a drop set and just go freaking nuts. Yeah, that's good. You know, surprisingly, that was a lot easier than I thought it would be, but it wasn't even my tricep that failed. It was my wrist. It was just from being in that bent position. So I think there's an even middle ground when going, you know, too heavy and then focusing on form, especially with this movement, because if I go too heavy, you know, my wrist will start to feel it. But if I can find a way to just go heavy enough, then almost like squeeze to the top, that's a freaking sweet spot I'm looking for. So let's get some lap curl crazy eights in here. Yeah, that's good. Ooh. All right. 35s we'll have to do tape presses. Yeah, surprisingly, I don't feel it in my triceps too much on that one, even when I'm trying to squeeze to the top. So we'll have a final burnout set with biceps and triceps. So yeah, we'll freaking kill it then. Come here. Yeah, that's good. All right, we're gonna have to do a quick pump check today. Let's, that's way too zoomed in. There we go. Yeah. A little closer. There we go. All right, that is freaking all for today. I will see y'all tomorrow for a big old leg pump.